Hmm.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for joining us. What a pleasure to have you. My name is Gadnir. I'm CEO and co-founder of Journeyz. And today we're talking about the question many revenue teams are starting to face. In the age of AI, when should teams build internally and when should they buy? So AI has made building looks incredibly easy. At the same time, it has made designing the right revenue architecture much harder. So I'm really happy to be joined by Tia Wucher, Head of Customer Experience at Walnut. Tia works closely with many revenue teams through Walnut, so she sees how companies are actually approaching these decisions in the real world. Tia, maybe before we dive in, would you like to share a bit about yourself and Walnut?
It would be my honor, and thank you for having me. This is a conversation I'm really tailored to, keen to really have. So thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Tia. I have been in customer success, even before it was called customer success, for so many years. And one of the things that I really love is the customer success and the customer experience touches so many aspects of many businesses. But also, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in this conversation is how AI is really going to help us, not harm us, but also where we need to be focused on, as Guy is talking about, the build versus the buy. This is a conversation we're having a lot at Walnut, but also with our customers. So I'm excited to definitely partake in this conversation.
Thank you, Tia. Couldn't think of a better partner to go through this subject with.
Thank you.
So one of the biggest shifts we're seeing right now is that building internal tools has never been easier, right? And with the AI co-pilots, agent frameworks, automation tools, teams can build things in days. They used to do that in months, right? The flip side of it is that designing the overall revenue architecture has never been riskier, okay? Actually, that reminds me a conversation I had just yesterday with a customer I really appreciate. And here's how it goes. So he said, Guy, listen, we just got that engineer from R&D for a couple of weeks, and it's incredibly amazing how fast he builds. He says he connected everything to Claude, and every day he adds another integration. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So I said, that's great. So is it working? Are teams already using it? He said, not yet. First, we need to connect it to Salesforce. So everything is documented. At that point, I thought, okay, good luck mapping fields in Salesforce. Good luck with that. Suddenly, you're not just building a prototype anymore, right? Now you need Salesforce admin work, you need field mapping, you need permissions, governance, things that start getting complicated very quickly. So, and that's where the hidden costs starts appearing, right? Tia, maybe from your perspective of the companies you work with, what are you seeing? More of experimentation like this or production tools?
Yeah. One of the things that I'm going to really laser focus in on this is the change management piece. Guy, you're talking a lot about like the production, the building of that product, but there are so many different aspects around that product that need to be factored in. Even talking about, how that customer experience needs to be connected across the entire stack. So hidden costs, yes, but fragmentation is probably one of the biggest risks. And then you layer in the change management that needs to come. And you kind of scratched on this a little bit. It's not just one person that's responsible for it. It is building a team of focused folks to be able to support this, because it does take, for even us, when we were looking for a solution, we used to have a customer success platform. And that customer success platform was integrated into our systems, but it kept us out of the system and source of truth. And so we were reliant on so many different aspects of integrating, whether it was our product data, Segment, Salesforce, HubSpot, you name it, those all needed to be connected. And that also meant we needed to enable the team to know where to go for the right data. Whereas right now, one of the things that we are really benefiting from, and I will say, I'm proud to say that we are a Journeyz customer. And one of the reasons is because of that connected tissue layer allows us to handle that change management, the enablement, the adoption, the metrics of success. It allows us to move so much faster. Whereas before, the conversation really was, and we were asking this question, if we can build it, should we? And the answer was we shouldn't, because we were not able to innovate fast enough. We were not able to, as you said, Guy, integrate into the different systems that allowed us to work out of one system for all of our engagement, all of our metrics, and be able to determine whether that was a successfully adopted solution. So I look at not just those four boxes on the right. There are so many layers in each of them that need to be considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Noam is here with us. And by the way, Noam, thank you for all the work you've done to set this event up. So Noam reminded me of the COCOMO model, right? The software construction cost model, where we used to see in the past 70% of the cost on the build side versus 30% of the cost on the maintenance and the integration side, while today what we're seeing is flipped completely. So it's 10% on the build side, but yet 90% of the effort is on the maintenance and integration side. So it needs to be taken into consideration and in a much larger amount than before. One distinction that we've found really helpful when thinking about build versus buy is separating the tactical tools from the strategic ones. Okay, so the mistake companies make isn't building. We want to build, we want to use the tools, right? The mistake is building in the wrong layer of the stack. So tactical tools usually automate a task or generate insights that someone still consumes manually. Examples might be summarizing emails or calls, drafting emails, they do that a lot, ticket categorization. So these are often great candidates for internal builds because they're contained, low risk. Strategic tools, on the contrary, are very different, right? They usually connect multiple systems. You have to rely on reliable data that influence revenue decisions, right? That would be things like health scoring, churn prediction, maybe expansion signals. So once you enter that layer, you're not just building a tool anymore, you're building infrastructure. And infrastructure is where complexity compounds, right? So Tia, from what you're seeing across customers?
I think anyone on my team would absolutely know, like when I think about what we do from a process or even a tool solution decision framework, it starts with strategy. And at the heart of what we do is that strategic approach. Why are we doing what we are doing? Why would we build something versus buy something? And it has to be tied to, are we utilizing the resources that we have in the best way, which for me is really focused on what that customer experience and what that customer is valuing from Walnut. The tactics and that tactical layer, I always call it, kind of that checkbox. Yes, we want, tasks. We want those things to be a part of it, But if it isn't connected to that strategy, it feels just like a checkbox. Yes, we can say we did this. Yes, we completed that. But I want it directly tied and correlated with that overarching strategy. And it means that for resources to be allocated for something that we may build internally, I want to ensure that that connected strategy lives throughout what we are doing. And we talked, actually, my team and I spoke about it this morning. When we think about a workflow and optimizing a workflow, this is where, Guy, you're creating something that improves that workflow. We use AI to build some of those prototypes. Those prototypes give us something to react to. Is it ultimately what we are going to build? We don't know yet. So let's not waste time and resources on building something before we have that gut check. But that is directly tied to that strategy, that overarching strategy of we want to improve the customer experience and we want to increase the value that we deliver. So I truly, I'd love to put a big heart around the strategy, because that is really where we live. And I want to make sure that every tactical thing that we bring to the fold is connected to that strategy.
Perfect. Amazing. Makes a lot of sense. Another thing we see happening is that generating insights with AI is becoming easier and easier, right? But insights only create value when they actually change what people do. So you can generate signals and analytics all day, but if they don't influence the behavior eventually of the CSM or account manager, they don't really create impact. And one way we think about it is that value only appears when technology reaches the behavior layer, right? The fourth one, if you go clockwise. So if you look at the stack here, data, intelligence, workflow, behavior, outcomes, the difficult part is usually the last two layers, right? The workflow and the behavior. So Tia, maybe that connects to your own experience. You started touching that. Maybe you can share more on that.
Yeah, one of the things that I value most as a leader within a company that serves customers is that experience that customer is expecting from Walnut is the best, most delightful and valuable experience for them. And when I look at this graph here, this image here, I look at everything that I worry about every day. Do we have the data intelligence? Is that workflow really optimized? Because once it gets to that almost human layer, that behavior and that growth element, if we do not have, and I keep talking about this connected tissue layer, if we don't have that connected tissue layer internally, our customers are going to experience that. Whether we think they're going to experience it or not, they do. And I've been on the receiving end of that. I buy software, so I know when something doesn't feel connected and isn't integrated into the overall of what we're trying to drive. I feel like growth will be stunted if we do not have that connected tissue there. And that's why when I think about building something within this stack, it needs to play a major role in optimizing not only that internal experience for us, but ultimately what that external experience is for our customers. And it comes with a lot of expertise that I think we forget when we think about building something. I want to be a really great builder, not a builder of everything. I want to build one thing really, really well. And it kind of goes back to that cliche. I want to be an expert or a master of something. I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I want to really own a space. And that's what we're really focused on at Walnut, is making sure that our customers have the best experience that drives the highest value outcomes for them. And so we, even as we look at these areas on the slide here, we are optimizing for that with the customer always at the forefront of what we are doing.
I love it. I love the way you, while you consider each and every point here, you're still considering everything underneath the leading strategy that you have in mind.
Yeah. Always at the heart.
So this brings us to the central question, right? So when should teams build internally, and when is buying the better decision? Some of the factors we often see influencing that decision are complexity, maintenance, level of operational risk. Tia, when companies evaluate these decisions, what usually drives the build versus buy choice as you see it?
A lot of it is resources. Do they have the capacity to take on more work that may be a bit of a risk, and it may not end up being something that you longer term build. So when I look at what matters most to me is we have OKRs that we establish every quarter and annually. And I want to make sure that everything that we do contributes to those OKRs and those key results, like whether it's retention or mitigating risk within our customer base, or, improving GDR and NDR. Those aren't just things that we talk about. It's something we are measuring, and those are our North Star. And so when I think about building, while I think I shared this earlier, I'm good with building along that process. But if we are, and wasting is such a strong word, but I actually mean it here, if we're wasting capacity and resources on building something that net will not get us an improved NDR, improved GDR, help us mitigating risk, those things are absolutely wasted time. And so I want to make sure that when we think about the complexities that our customers are going through and how we can help optimize that, I want to make sure that we are spending our time as wisely as we possibly can for our customers.
I am hearing efficiency, and maybe that's the signal that tells you this shouldn't be built internally versus.
Well, and I think it even goes to the fact, and I think a lot of us forget about this. We use, our LLMs like Google now. And I mean, I've even named them after the Golden Girls, which is an amazing show that I love. I use these tools in my day. And do I rely on them? No, but I use them to drive efficiency in my day. I research customers. I want to learn more about a person, or even help me drive or draft an email, whatever it might be. Those efficiencies are worth it. But if it's going to take me more time to invest in using AI for what I'm doing, and I'm not going to result in a more efficient or a better product, it's a waste of my time. So I'm very intentional, and I talk about this with my team too. Let's use AI to drive that efficiency, to make our day a little bit easier and better. Because I used to listen to investment calls of every single customer I managed. That's a lot of time. Or reading a transcript. I can upload a transcript into ChatGPT or Claude, have them spit out a summary. I've just now saved myself probably an hour. Those are the efficiencies that I'm looking for, and building that into a workflow versus building a product to handle that workflow is where I'm really looking.
Yeah. Beautiful. Makes absolute sense. Maybe it is time to open up for the audience. Noam, if you can take control over the buttons here and see if maybe there are questions or Maybe we can bring up a question to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all they have to do is raise their hand and I'll open up their speaking ability.
I guess my question is, are you all having these conversations internally, and how are you thinking about the build versus buy?
Don't be shy.
I can share an example just even from this past like week and a half. Walnut is an interactive demo platform for our customers, and we help optimize top of funnel all the way down to the bottom of the funnel. We help from marketing, sales enablement, CS, even product managers launch those products. And we recently came up across a prospect that was looking at, okay, I'm just going to build my demos in a system, in an AI world. They are going to use the next probably 3 months and trial using a lovable product to build their demos. And our questions back to them were, how are you going to measure the success of those demos? How are you going to integrate it into the workflows that sales reps or even SDRs are using? And the responses we got were, it's so easy to build these demos, so we're just going to try it. And I think as long as you've got that experimentation mindset that this is a trial or a pilot, I think it's okay as long as you're not wasting too much time or investing too much time in this. So I look at it as, you know, you kind of have to weigh what we've got on the screen there, the risk around each of these areas.
Yeah, we see the same. We definitely see the same on our end, in our domain. In many cases, for me, it's an exercise of just sit and wait, and let's meet again in 2 months from now. Let's see what you've accomplished. Maybe we have something to learn, but in many cases, we can foresee where they'll get stuck. If we looked at the previous slide, maybe getting everything into a working workflow, eventually influencing behaviors, is not as easy as it looks at the experimental build phase. So
I also think something that's missing that we aren't really talking about as much is when you rely on, AI for a lot of what humans are really amazing at, is that thought leadership, is that expertise. We've refined that expertise and the way to provide a bit more of that proactive guidance. That's not something AI can necessarily do for you on a regular basis and have that consistent pattern of thought leadership, best practices, guiding principles, all of those amazing things that come from humans that are invested in this world. And I will absolutely say, I think there is a world in which we live side by side and improve what we do from a best practice and guiding principles, because AI is pushing innovation at a clip that we have never seen. They're moving so fast. So a lot of research, can definitely be garnered from AI, and building prototypes and optimizing workflows, but it can never replace the expertise that come from, working with a company that has those experts a part of the people and the product that they're buying.
Love it. Couldn't say it in a better way. And maybe it's a good time to get this one simple rule that we've found helpful. Build where experimentation is cheap, and buy where complexity compounds and architecture matters. Tia, when you look forward, what do you think about building versus buying?
I am a staunch believer in experimentation. I love to, I worked at Optimizely previously, and one of the things that was ingrained in me is let's learn as quickly as we possibly can, but also learn from those failures. And one of the learnings that I have gleaned is when we try to build things internally and it's an epic failure, let's learn what went well, but also let's do a bit of a retro and take some of those learnings to inform what we do going forward. And I will always weigh the complexity with what I could experiment on. But the minute that complexity meter is going up and to the right, I am for sure going to be looking for expertise and relying on that expertise to help me improve what matters most to me, my customers, and our company. And oftentimes when I think I can build something or I can create something that is going to be as beneficial, I am proven wrong through a quick little experiment that helps me learn. So embrace that learning, embrace that experimenting, but also learn from your failures because they often indicate something that needs to be paid attention to.
I'm sure we'll be continuing the discussion and touch that a lot in the near future. Tia, thank you so much for the conversation. I had a lot of fun, enjoyed it personally. I hope the audience as well. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Guy.